You shouldn't bully people if you don't have the skill.
Oh yeah. This is Unreal Tournament. Unreal Bjorn 2. Round 2. Or round 1 results. I don't know why. Anyways. Good morning, everyone. No. That is not what I wanted to do. Why are you the way you are? What's happening here? Topic. One for one. Study Monday. Study Monday. Hey Atsuki, how's it going? How are you today? I don't have energy to sit and fiddle with the stream settings. Anyway, Zelin, how's it going? Is the sound okay? I hope it's okay. It's again the microphone style, studio style thing. Improvisation. We'll see if it works. If you guys are too annoyed by quality, but it didn't seem like to be an issue last time, so. Anyway, oh, thank you. Yeah, it was what I showed was a crop of the original, but I usually don't do lewd art, but for the project I think it's an interesting project, hardcover. It's like erotic art. I mean, obviously pushed to communicate the idea or the principle of censoring. You know, like there's so many accounts that have been banned and posts been deleted by just sharing it, even censored, which is crazy. It's like they're so quick at it, even though like you can do tasteful art and it's going to be banned or taken down. So I think that kind of it's an interesting, weird project. Anyways, it's good stuff. Hey, Dame Devian, Janae, Captain Boss. Captain Boss, yeah, it's the ref. If you write apostrophe ref, you'll get it. It's good, spikes a bit with higher sounds. Oh, really? All right, let me. I'll lower the volume a bit. Maybe it won't spike as hard. So if you type ref, you get the URL for the reference today. Narrator, yeah, the censorship thing is a bit scary because for me, censoring when it's automated, it is like a parent, an automated parent that decides what you should and should not see. Granted, like you might not want to see, you know, like have your kids see adult stuff, obviously. You know, so like what is the, you know, like who can see what type deal? I mean, that's why like age gates were pretty good. You know, like, or you're 18 up or 16 up. Yeah, you can watch adult content. if you're not, your account is underneath that age level, it's automated like hard filtering. But I mean, I'm almost 40. I can deal with a nipple or two. It's like it's no problem. Hey Cosmoverse, how's it going? Good morning. Nereda, yeah, Polish priests burning books. Yeah, that's clever. Book burning is very adult. It's very adult behavior right there. I don't like this book. I will burn it. Is that how it works? Hey Tihana, how's it going? All right, let's do this study. This very interesting and beautiful photo. I'm a little bit torn of what I'm going to try to study. I'm going to try to study two things. One thing being, I want to try to mimic the kind of like the vibrancy of the tone of the painting. Like it's very very inviting tone in the photo, right? It's like glowing almost. It's very fascinating, and that's one thing I'm going to try to mimic. The other thing I'm going to try to mimic is the rhythm. Like I'll try to show it. Well, I'm not going to try and know how to show it. No. So maybe I can actually put it side by side over here, to some degree. So what I wanted to say is that you can see the black and white rhythm of the painting, which is very interesting, like how it stacks vertically. Tihana. Sorry that I'm laughing, but that's so stupid. One thing I think though, when it comes to behavior like book burning and so on, is one thing that I genuinely hope is the case, which is that it's a generational thing. Like I can't see like a 20-year-old who's 20-year-old today behave that way when they're old, like 50, 60. I mean, sure, you can always like, oh yeah, what about this person? What about that person? There's always exceptions to the rule, right? But what I mean is like generally the education and understanding of the youth is significantly different due to generational gaps, obviously. Like there is a difference between generations, and one thing that a lot of people forget, which I try to remind myself of, like when I get pissed off over certain people's behavior, is like you can only change someone that much until like their programming takes over. And by that I mean we're all the face is way off. I'm also trying not to copy it exactly, because obviously, as you can see, the reference is smaller than my canvas, so I'm kind of just mapping it half-assedly. Anyways, as I was saying, programming. There is a lot of social programming, regardless if you want to or not, but you are a product of your surroundings, as well as a product of who you are. You know, your chemical makeup, your thinking, your soul, the alien inside this monkey suit. But you're definitely a product of your society, I think, and surroundings. And you can only bend that much. I mean, I can personally, I'm quite tolerant. I can adjust my way of thinking if I can justify it in my head. Like, yeah, that seems fair. All right, I'll change. But I don't think generally that is the way people think and behave on average. I think a lot of people tend to hold on to their beliefs, and the differences with a lot of people and change in when it comes to society and how things are run has to come with generations, unfortunately. Like when the old guard dies and the new guard replaces them, that's where the change comes. And you can push for change a little bit in between, but you will never see dramatic changes. That's how I see it. Captain Boss, we are robots. Hey, Eric and Gria, by the way. How's it going? Yeah, it's a lovely reference. I really like it. And as per usual, if you want the URL to reference, just type apostrophe ref, REF, and it's yours. But yeah, so like this whole a couple of years ago when the whole feminism thing started blooming, and everyone was like, "Yeah, fuck this guy, f this dude, old assholes," and they were like, "Why?" And they were all fighting about like equality and so on and so forth, and I was like, "Yeah, I agree," but like fat chance is gonna change. It will never change until they are replaced. And that's where you'll see the biggest difference. And I know the stand-up comedian Bill Burr isn't like the most loved stand-up comedian, but he is one of the like greats currently, and he has a really funny joke about football coach that is quite liberal for being an old guy from the South about black people. It's like, yeah, you can be friends with them, you can hang out with them, but don't like post on Instagram about it or something. It's like was the coach's only rule for being a really old guy from the South. That's like extremely liberal and anyways. And the joke was that in the end, all you're doing is just screaming at an old man in a boat because he tried his best. I'm butchering the joke, but he summarized my opinion about generational change quite well with that joke, being just for that you can change, you can understand things, you can improve world, but in the end, like for the biggest change, it needs to change out the people, and that's where the change comes, the full change. But for example, my issue with religion is that they maintain the thinking between generations a lot. Like it's not so much the free thinking behavior, but it's taught behavior, and that doesn't change that much between generations in let's say Christianity. That's what I've been mostly exposed to. So that's one of my issues with religion. like that their religion in general have rules of behavior that can't change. Wanamir, hey, what's up? Good morning. Pihana, yeah, the Catholic Church joke. Dame Deviant, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, there's people who will never change, obviously, but big picture wise, I'm talking about, obviously, clearly. I've been playing around a lot lately with my paintings about like bleeding color into the canvas to simulate like bloom effect, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this study, because I wanted to kind of try to mimic this like vibrancy. It's like using traditional painting methods digitally to try to give life to the painting. Because for me, a lot of digital paintings can become quite technical and dead. So personally, I've always tried to bring traditional painting ways into digital, and that's why also a lot of my paintings are quite painterly, because I've been trying on purpose to kind of not try to be too tight. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just my taste, you know. I really love that pink that's in the eye. It's a nice touch. Makes it really, really soft. But I gotta remember. It's like a cat's nose. If you make it pink, it just becomes something you want to squish. It's a good thing that little pink there in the eye. I really need to remember it. If you want to make a soft feel to the eye. This face is not correct anywhere in terms of proportions. But screw it, I'm not looking at the proportions. I want to try to capture that glow. Hefez, bro. Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking on religion. I mean, religions have a great things with them, for them. A lot of people need religion to stay sane. And I think that's a great thing when it comes to religion. But also, as with everything, there's good and bad aspects. And in general, for me, at any point when anyone becomes fanatic about anything, that's when you need to pump the brakes a bit. And religion is one of those where fanatics and fanatism, is that, I guess, is quite prevalent. It occurs a lot. And that's the downside. But like I said, it's with everything. There's good and bad with everything. Hey, the Mind Waker, how's it going? Iglesias Miguel. Hey, Schattenlauf. What's up? Örjan, yeah, absolutely. Exactly. I mean, there's this kind of you either shit on religion or you are religious, but that's not like what I mean when I talk about religion. I mean, I'm all for religion for those who want to believe in religion. Go for it. I was just explaining, like, the idea of generational thinking. And religion, obviously, is a sensitive subject because it comes down to belief, and what people believe wholeheartedly is something they cherish. And when you question the things they cherish, you know, you got a problem. And that's not what I want to do. And that was not the point of why I brought up religion. If you want to be religious and don't harm anyone while practicing it, go nuts. I'm all for it. Iglesias, yeah, that's is an interesting thing as well. Tihana, overworking oneself. Do you mean like burning yourself out? Hey, the shoe thief, how's it going? What up, yo? One thing about overworking is you need to take breaks. You need to be focused in the sense of understanding what you're doing, when and why. By that I mean, just don't sit there and crunch the hours because you're not thinking of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Like, you can get far more done in 1 hour if you're pumped, prepared, and ready to focus, or you can get the same amount done over 5 hours if you're just counting the minutes. Like, oh, I have to sit here and till 10 because, you know, I can't not do art. For me, then the best is to walk away if you're just counting the minutes. Walk away, go recharge, do something else, go out for a run, meet some friends, or go watch a movie or whatever. And then set the time and space for you to focus, and then walk away. The easy to burn out or overwork yourself is to just grind without purpose. Because if you're having fun and you're focused and you're enjoying the ride, you will never overwork yourself because it's not a chore, it's not forced, right? Overworking always comes to forcing yourself to sit X amount of hours. You are not allowed to walk away, and that's where like burnout comes. Because when you're having fun and enjoying, you feel like you can take a break. You can feel that you can, you know, go for a walk because you're not struggling. You're not fighting to get something done, right? You're just enjoying the ride, and that's a big problem when you don't take breaks and when you don't pace yourself, and when you don't do all those things. And it's a sure way to burn out, not to take breaks, to count minutes and grind. People need to learn that sometimes doing less is more. Ricky, well, yeah and no. About being defensive. Or, I mean, it depends on your level of understanding the ego, or the need of being right, or feeling that who are you to tell me what to do. I mean, if you would come and tell me that my thinking is incorrect, I would either go, yeah, that you're right, I should change, or F you, to boil it down, or any gradient of the two in between. But not all people are that way. I mean, a lot of people just don't want to change because, because. But I don't know. Generally speaking, though, it's hard to make rules of how people should act when humans are a full spectrum of different kinds of people. And it's not that easy to go, this is how everyone should behave, because not everyone is behaving the same way or able to behave the same way. So it's always a little bit dangerous, kind of making people behave in a certain way. And again, I think that kind of leans into the whole generational shift thing. Like, the biggest change can only occur when there's a old guard, when the exchange of the old guard. Because the people have had time to live with a new way of thinking through many years, where the dynamic old guard that are able to change can only change that much, because fundamentally they are trained in a different way. And some people just don't want to change as well, then that's another completely different issue. Örjan, yeah, exactly. I think it's really important as well. What you should have done as well during that period is take breaks, and like walk away for a day or so, because you would have gotten more done. Easy to say now, but practice it. Try it next time. Take a break middle of a deadline. Iglesias, yeah, it is easy to sit in that trap. I had to learn it the hard way, unfortunately. That breaks are important, and grind doesn't help. I mean, sometimes you have to grind, but then it's really important that you recover and then don't constantly grind. Like, you can't go like, okay, shit, I'm gonna have to suffer for a week here. But like Örjan, like, when that week is over and you've ticked the boxes, it's time to recover. Nimlot, generally there's two lines of topic: old school, old guard behavior, where you can only change them that much, versus exchanging them for a new generation with a different understanding. And the second is how to take breaks, how to manage not to overwork yourself. That's the two running topics that I'm jumping in between. Örjan, oh yeah, well, there you go. Lesson learned, I guess. How do you take breaks? Well, that is down to you, how you recover, how you switch off, how you prepare for the next session. Like for me, what I used to do when I had a lot to do and I needed breaks, first of all was to schedule my time. So I said 4 hours of hard work, and when these 4 hours are done, I walk away for a while, do something else, you know, play some games, or go hang out with a friend or whatever. But anyways, so I prepared mentally, physically for the period of focus, right? So I was sitting there working hard. I knew I shouldn't be doing Facebook. I shouldn't, you know, I switched the sound off on the phone. No distractions, no nothing that would make me not sit and do my work. Like I would read the emails, I would gather references and so on. And while gathering references, I could, you know, listen to music or talk to a friend or whatever. It wasn't work time, right? But then when work time started, switch everything off, everything is ready, and let's grind it out. Like 4 hours of hardcore focus. And then when those 4 hours are done, you like wake up from the chaos, walk away. What I used to do was I used to go for a like 2 hour walk through the forest, up mountain, just like, because also when I do it alone, when I went alone, I was ruminating what I did, what's the next moves. I didn't have music on, I didn't have sound on my phone on, no distractions, I wasn't texting, I wasn't doing anything. It was just me in isolation walking through nature. And that helped me think about the next moves, planning ahead. So when I did go back to work after that 2 hour walk, as an example, I knew exactly what changes to do to the painting, what references I need to collect, and so on and so forth. And for me, it worked really well. And for some people, taking a break can be go out for a cigarette, have a cup of coffee. It's down to you and your behavior of how you go off work mode. Obviously, don't drink beer or alcohol. That's never gonna be successful break because you won't be able to get back. But that's the idea, right? The idea is to switch off work mode. Because if you're constantly in work mode also, you're never relaxing. Like you're never putting your guard down. And that's a lot of people's mistake, is that they work unfocused and they don't switch off. Some people can do it better, and some people can also switch off while doing studies and so on and so forth. So it's all down to yourself, and you have to feel your capabilities of what you are able to do and not do. And that's why also I'm a little bit cagey with saying exactly how you should do it, because you know, not everyone is the same, and I don't want to like say how I did it fully, because you know, you have to feel for yourself of how you switch off. I mean, I could tell you all the steps I did, but they won't affect you the same way as it affected me. You know? But what's most important is that you need to feel where that line is for you. Where am I working too hard? When do I need a break? Another thing that I used to do, which is I think is a good trick, which can help like generally a lot of people, is what I used to do is have two clients. I mean, this sounds hardcore, but I used to have two clients at the same time at two different genres or tasks. So what I did was I worked 4 hours on one, where I was like, oh, machinery, and went crazy on machinery. And after the next 4 hour lump of time, I was doing dragons or something, you know, so that I'm just not grinding machinery every day forever for a month, and then you're vomiting. So that's a good trick to do, is have two things running, even if it's personal or a commission versus client work or something like that. Have something like a palate cleanser, which is a great reset. Because when I made my own game, and what happened was that I had to sit there and grind out the art. And what happened in the end was I was so bored of doing the art that I did it at half speed, but I was doing like 12-hour work days and was just sitting there, okay, pixel. And then in the end, I like, okay, I'm not gonna do any work tomorrow. I just lounged all day, and then I prepared like mentally, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna go back to the project. I'm gonna have to do this, and that. Okay, I'm gonna spend 1 hour on that, 2 hours on that, and that's it. Like, okay, shit, I only have 1 hour. Okay, what's the most important things I need to correct, and corrected them. Okay, that's good enough. Walk away. Brush thrust, brush thrust. But yeah, but there's also breaks. What's important to remember is also breaks removes you from the implicit mind state, the autopilot mind state. That's why, for example, time flies when you're into something, because you are focused and you're in that bubble. And if you take a break, you're out of the bubble. And some people have a hard time getting back into the bubble when it's time to work again. So that's also something you need to consider and kind of feel for yourself of what is my triggers to get into the zone. What I used to have as a trigger is music. That's why I have a lot of different kind of music libraries that I always listen to, because I know these songs, they are constructed in a way where I switch off. I go into paint mode. I just disappear. Like, there is no world, there is no body. I am the brush. But that's true. Like, you got to find for yourself what triggers you to focus. Sit there without clothes, or music, or all the lights switched off, all the lights switched on. You need to sit in a cafe where there's lots of noises. There's all sorts of triggers of how you can focus, but you need to start thinking about them and then using them as a tool. If you're going to take breaks, how do you get back into it? Anyways, rant over. Let's raid. Who to raid? Oh snap! Let's raid Max. art streamers. Kyoshu. Kyoshu? Yeah, that's a great way. Autopilot way. Anyway, well, thank you. Glad that you enjoy it. Right, we're gonna raid Max. He's doing some Lord of the Rings. Cheers, Erika, Riki. As per usual, I'll switch us over after the outro. Just jump on the raid and I'll take care of it. Have a great day. Good night if you're that part of the world. Round 2, round 1, apostrophe round 1, apostrophe round 2 for Unreal Bjorn 2 stuff, apostrophe ref for this week's Monday study. Anyways, you guys are fantastic. Have a great one. Bye, everyone.